Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits, as it should. Okay. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Terrific Tuesday, I guess. We'll see. You know, something interesting about something that what happened today. First off, I didn't even know that there was going to be a sentencing until this earlier this morning, that there was going to be a sentencing. And you know, I would have loved to have seen this and watched this with y'all live. But unfortunately, because of how my internet and all the things that are set up, and trust me, I'm trying to get that figured out as soon as possible so that we can watch things live as a family from this point on. I'm working on that right now, remedying it as quickly as I can. But no matter what, I'm working on trying to, I want to share this with you guys. I could not cover this because we've been covering this Franke Jodi Hildebrandt situation for a while now. And now there was a sentence hearing today that I think is absolute trash. I just think it's trash. It's not what the judge does. It's actually not what the judge does. It's not what the judge does. I'm sorry for that left turn. I'm sorry for the dramatics, but I had to give you guys a little bit of that. So we're going to go back to the regular thing. So yeah, it's trash. You'll see why in a second. All right. But we're going to be watching that. We're going to be watching the hearing together. Jodi Hildebrandt speaks. Franke speaks, not in that specific order. It's actually the other way around, but still, they had some things to say, which is also what I think is trash. It's trash. So we got to get into this. So do me a favor, okay? Hit that like button down below, all right? Send it past whatever, because I know a lot of you guys have already seen this, or you guys are watching on other channels, which I totally understand. Trust me, I totally understand. But we have to watch this as a family. We're not done with this case. We're not done with this story. So we got to talk about that. Also, hit that reaction button if you're watching on Facebook. That'll be greatly appreciated. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching over there on Facebook, please be sure to hit that follow button on my Facebook page. Please and thank you. That'd be greatly appreciated, of course. So make sure you do that as well. All right. Working hard out here in these streets on all these platforms as best as I can. All right. I am just one man. Again, I am just one man. But if you can appreciate that, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, consider joining my family membership by hitting that join button down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you are wanting to support the channel any further than that and you don't have access to YouTube, or you just don't YouTube, please consider becoming a member on my Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. It's on the ticker going that way right now underneath me as we speak. Or you can go and check out my merch page, pascalmerch.com. Go check out all my stuff. Okay, that'd be greatly appreciated. Okay, anyway, let us get into some things. Okay, as you guys already know, Jodi Hildebrandt is looking at the possibility of being locked up for a very, 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 very long time. She's looking at an upwards of 60 years in prison. Okay, that's not just her, but also her partner in crime, monster number 2, Jodi Hildebrandt. Now, the thing is let's show them. Let's show a photo of them real quick before we jump into all this. This is them, before they got caught. I mean, to imagine this duo, this disgusting duo, smiling in these photos doing all these videos, telling people how they should parent, how they should live their lives, trying to be those kind of gurus, almost televangelist type stuff, right? All the while, there are kids, littles, locked up, literally, against their own will. These kids were seen emaciated, in very bad shape, for lack of a better term, okay? Signs of actual okay, on their bodies. And the only reason why these two right here were exposed, let me just blow this up so you guys can see all the wrinkles and where they get the Botox and all that, okay? But all the while, this was happening in front of under people's noses, unbeknownst to the people that were subscribing, following, and in consuming their BS. And all of this was destroyed because one of her kids managed to escape from Jodi Hildebrandt's house, basically climb out of a house, okay, or crawl out of a house, however, to seek refuge with a neighbor. And we've heard the 911 call. We've heard all the stuff that we've seen. We've seen everything. We have, if you've been following this channel or any other channel following this particular case, we have gone through this, every nook and cranny of this case. It is unbelievable and mind-blowing what happened to these kids and what they went through. And the fact that all the while, these two are shiny, happy people. Hey, go buy my course, subscribe to our channel, go and consume our stuff, support our website, go to our classes and our courses and whatnot, right? Pretty insane stuff, to say the least. Okay? And while they're doing that, this kid, thank God for this kid crawling out and doing what they did. Okay? So the thing is here it is. Obviously, if you've seen the series that I have, the playlist that I have, we've been diving into this quite a bit. There's a lot going on here. And it's been months and months of work. Okay, months and months of reporting, etc. But now we're at a place that I didn't even know that we were at until earlier this morning when I open up my phone and there's been a lot of different articles that are saying this right here. But I was like, what in the hell is going on here? I'm like, wait. Why is Kevin Franke, the wet noodle husband? I'm sorry, I don't really care. If you've been following this story and this case, you know why I call him a wet noodle. All right. But now we're hearing this and I'm going, wait a second, that's a little confusing. I'm confused. Now he wants her to be in prison for a long time. He doesn't want her free. And now he's saying whatever she did, the things that she is said to have done, which, by the way, not all the details of what she has done to these kids has fully been exposed yet. A lot of things are being held back. Those details, I'm sure Papa knows more. Now he's saying it's horrific and inhumane. But a few months ago, he wasn't like that. In fact, it was more like he was going to stand by his woman and he was going to do everything he could to get custody of his kids back. Now, this could be a move. That could be a move of him trying to do that, right? To the public, to the court of public opinion, trying to get get back in the good graces of the court of public opinion, right? Oh my God, what she did is horrific and inhumane. Oh my gosh, right? Maybe that's what he's doing. She did what? When actually she's been doing this stuff for a very, very long time. Do you understand that this was happening way before Connections? Way before Jodi Hildebrandt sauntered into her life and said, I know the way. We're going to use God as our foundation, right? Forget all that. Move all that to the side. That just injected testosterone into her way of dealing with the kids, how she raised the kids, etc. So Wet Noodle had been all about it for a long time until he got kicked out of that house by Jodi Hildebrandt. And because of Jodi Hildebrandt's teachings and ways of life. So to me, when I see this, I'm like, okay, this is BS to me. So now you're doing that because I feel like he's trying to do everything he can to get custody of his kids. Real quick, we're going to look at this, and then we're going into the sentencing stuff. Real talk. I just feel like we needed to warm up a little bit before we go into that. All right. But let's take a look at this here really quick. Okay. Kevin Franke wants his wife to face maximum prison time, which obviously I think we all agree. I mean, for the most part, okay, that she needs to be in there for a very long time because she's looking at 4 to 15 years for each count, for all 4 counts. Okay. Trust me, if she could be in there for 60, I'd be like, yay. See, like the guy who's clapping really loud and going, yeah, that's me in the background, actually, on this case. You know what I mean? HGH, muscle milk. You know what I mean? But still, just being real. I agree. Love for her to be in there for as long as she needs to be. Okay. 4 years, in my personal opinion, ain't enough. Okay. That's just what I feel. All right. But he wants maximum. And I'm suddenly wondering why. So her estranged husband, Kevin, right here, Wet Noodle number 1. Okay. By the way, again, this photo right here, for example. Okay, she was a huge YouTuber, etc. Right? Remember all that stuff? Remember that? She was a big time YouTuber. 1 point something million, millions of subscribers, etc. Right? Okay. Now, what's interesting about this is throughout this entire time, before Jodi Hildebrandt walked into their lives, he and she were doing the same thing. Maybe not as intense, but they were still punishing their children in horrible, horrible ways. So even during this time, like, man, he was a part of the problem. He wasn't a part of the solution. He let all this stuff go. In fact, there's videos, which we've seen in YouTube videos of him sitting there going, yeah, if you guys have problems on how we raise our children, then, I mean, we can't. This is how we raise our kids. This is how we discipline our kids. How you live your life is how you live your life. That kind of thing. He's been about this for a long time. So how is he sitting here going like, oh, she should get the 60 years and all that suddenly out of nowhere? It's ridiculous. But anyway, he wants his disgraced mommy vlogger to get maximum prison time Tuesday as she faces up to 60 years for horrific and inhumane CA. I got to use these code words. So his lawyer relayed his wishes as his vlogger wife and business partner, Jodi Hildebrandt, are sentenced Tuesday, having pleaded guilty. That's big, that they pleaded guilty to 4 counts of CA. That's big, that they said, okay, we're not going to fight this. We admit to wrongdoing. Sorry, big piece of lint on my body. We admit to wrongdoing, right? We trust the judge to sentence them both to 1 to 15 years for each of the 4 counts to run consecutively, and let the Utah State Board of Pardons decide if they should be shortened or other conditions imposed. This is what Randy Kester, his lawyer, said. Okay. The treatment these children received at the hands of those whom the children had a right to trust was horrific and inhumane, both physically and psychologically. I agree. Okay. Kevin remains focused on the rehabilitation of these sweet and vulnerable children so that they might return to a normal life as soon as possible, he said. Father has filed for divorce from the former 8 Passengers YouTube host and is hoping to regain custody of their 6 children. And I hope he does not get them. He's also seeking to have Hildebrandt, 54, pay for their children's recovery, in part from the proceeds of her $5 million home or $5.1 million home, which she has listed for sale. Yeah, she got I'm sure a lot of legal bills to pay now, doesn't she? The children remain in professional care for the aggravated psychological and emotional injuries suffered. It is clear and it admitted that the children suffered immediate and continuing irreparable harm as a result of the crimes perpetrated upon them by this defendants, by the way, S. Okay, it's 2 of them. Both of them did this ish. The father went on to argue that it would be completely inequitable for him to be left to pay for his child's care. I find that funny. I'm sorry. I think that's funny. And I'll explain here in a second. All right. Hildebrandt pleaded guilty to CA on December 27th. Her plea, she admitted to forcing a boy to remain outside at all hours of the day, succumbing sunburns, regularly binding the boy's hands and feet, and forcing a girl to jump into a cactus multiple times. What the fierce and funny son and number? Like what? You said what? That's a new one. That's a new part for me. So you said you had her jumping into a cactus? What the hell is that? What the hell is that, y'all? Wow, that's a new one for me. I didn't know about that. Okay, Ruby Franke also pleaded to CA charges, okay, admitting that she did terrible things to her 12-year-old son by making him work outdoors for hours from May 22nd through August 30th and bound his feet when he tried to escape. She also made the preteen work in the heat without enough water until he had quote unquote repeated and serious sunburns and physically attacked him. She also admitted to A-ing her 9-year-old daughter, forcing them to complete physical tasks and denying her food and water. She also says that these things that she did to these kids were acts of love. Acts of love. And that they were both evil and possessed. And of course, we already know about them both getting arrested on August 30th after her 12-year-old boy managed to escape Hildebrandt's home in Ivins, Utah. And we know about all the other stuff, but that information we already knew. Well, we already knew about all the stuff. Like she's sitting there saying, oh, they're evil. They're demented, possessed little devils. Remember all that crap? And then, of course, a few days after, she shows up in her first court appearance, and she's also sitting there trying to say that these kids were still evil. Like she still was saying that these kids were out here SAing other neighbors and family members as well, saying that these kids were the devil. Real talk. I can't even say it. Real talk. Just insane stuff, right? So now, after the wave of chaos subdues, they have now pled guilty to all 4 counts. Both of them have. They have admitted to doing these terrible things to these kids, which still, my mind is absolutely blown on that, okay? Absolutely blown on that. But now we have the sentence hearing where Jodi Ruby and then Jodi actually speak out and say a few things, which Ruby's is something. And then Jodi's is really something. So we're going to have to sit through this, listen to this, It is trash. I know I said it like 15 times in the very beginning of the show, but this is how I feel. Okay, it's absolute trash. And you know what? I'm just gonna say it. If you're guilty, you admit, you plead guilty. I get that you want to say something that may sway, right? That may change your. Maybe you hope that it will sway the judge, right, in his sentencing by speaking out. But you say like 2 seconds. It's like 2 sentences, a few sentences. You make it short and sweet. Okay. This is not an award ceremony where you're getting an award and you want to say thank you to all the people that have supported you during these turbulent times. This is the most wild, most disconnected speech I've ever heard when somebody's looking at some serious time. To me, this sounds like somebody who is still not completely connected with reality. This is somebody who is extremely disconnected, and this person should be locked away for as long as possible, because you know for a fact, if she's that delusional, if she's that disconnected to reality, and she's let out at in a reasonable time, she can get back in the good graces of Kevin, get back in the good graces of her family, and then start all this crap all over again. That's why I say, please, oh God, please lock her up for as long as you can. Let's take a look at this. And the audio's trash as well. It's funny. Like the key word today is trash. Okay. But the audio is trash. It is not me. It is not how I got it. This is just how it was live streamed. Okay. So just so you know. All right. Let's take a look at this. Please be sure to hit that number 1 when you can hear, to let me know you guys can hear this, just so you know. All right. Let's take a look at this. Please be sure to hit that number 1 when you can hear, to let me know you guys.
Shall we? I want the court to know that through introspection and
Hear this,
reflection,
just so
Franke
you
has
know.
become a serious
All right, let's
student
take a
of
look
her
at
own
this.
actions.
Please be sure to hit that number.
You are. You're so precious to me. I'm sorry.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to District Court. We're here for sentencing in the matter of State of Utah versus Ruby Franke. Ms. Franke is here with Mr. Windward. Mr. Clark and Mr. Sham are here for the State of Utah, and we are ready to proceed with sentencing. We are. Yes, Your Honor. Counsel, the terms of the sentence were agreed to as part of the plea agreement, correct? That is correct. There is a pre-sentence investigation report in the matter. I have reviewed that. Everyone has seen it. Yes. What about restitution, counsel, before we move on with other matters?
We'd like to leave that open at this time, Your Honor. I can get into that. I might be more comfortable if we approach to get into that.
Is there an agreement that restitution, that we reserve that, and for what period of time?
8 months is what we're anticipating. But I haven't talked to the defendant's counsel about that.
We haven't discussed that, Your Honor.
Is there any objection?
No.
All right. What's the state's position regarding sentencing?
Your Honor, the state, I'll stand up. The state respectfully requests that the court sentence Ms. Franke to consecutive prison terms for each of the 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. This sentence was agreed to by Ms. Franke in her plea agreement and is also recommended by adult probation and parole. She committed horrible acts of child abuse. From May to August in 2023, Ms. Franke and her business partner held her 2 children, ages 9 and 11, turning 12, in a concentration camp-like setting. The children were regularly denied food, water, beds to sleep in, and virtually all forms of entertainment. They were isolated from others and were hidden when people came to visit the house where the children and the defendants were staying. The children were forced to do physical tasks like carrying loaded boxes up and down stairs and wall sits or sitting against a wall without a chair or stool for hours at a time. They were also forced to do manual labor outdoors in the extreme summer heat, at times without shoes or socks. They were forced to stand outside on a cement patio in the summer heat for hours and even days at a time. They were beaten, and the 12-year-old was regularly bound hand and foot after he attempted to run away in mid-July.
Okay. Obviously, I don't understand. Okay, so just really quick, I'm sorry for a little bit of this break to this, but I need to say this. I am really. It is really disheartening how many cases we have been covering over the past just this whole month itself that has to do with our little ones. Okay. And I'm wondering what's up with the world? What's going on with people? Why are people doing this to our little ones? You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, this happened months ago. Like, these kids are gone, are away. They're far away from these people, from these two monsters, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But one thing that's really frustrating to me is that there's just seems to be a constant, ongoing theme here that is just, it aggravates the hell out of me, you know? And I have to say, I know this sounds like a poster right now, but I'm just going to say it anyway. If you see something, say something. Okay. If you got friends that, or kids that are maybe saying anything to you, I don't know. Do whatever you can to protect those kids. I'm just so tired of talking about these stories. And I don't mean that I don't want to talk about these stories. Clearly I do. I'm doing these shows with you guys. But it really does aggravate and frustrate me that it's a constant theme, that it's constantly this kid was dealt a really bad hand because they were born to the wrong type of parents. You see what I'm saying? Or see what I'm saying? Or they were born in the wrong type of environment. Hence the reason why this kid is now gone, or this kid is missing, or this kid is now or these kids in this matter are the subject matter, or the reason on why these two monsters could be seeing up to 60 years in prison individually. I'm just saying, keep your eyes and ears open. That's all. I mean, there's only so much we can do, but again, it just hit me because I was like, damn, another one that has to do with kids again. You see what I'm saying? And I really hope that this judge sentences them with an iron fist. That's what I hope they do. I hope he disciplines the hell out of these two, because that's exactly what they deserve. I apologize. I just had to get that off my chest. Let's continue, please.
Both children had extensive physical injuries from the abuse that required hospitalization when they were found. The injuries from the binding to the 12-year-old are particularly awful. In addition to physical abuse, the children were emotionally abused to the extent that each believed, to some degree, that they deserved what was being done to them. Had the older of the children not had the courage to run away and ask a neighbor to call the police, heaven only knows how much longer he could have survived in that situation. After being caught, Ms. Franke has shown considerable remorse, as evidenced by agreeing to serve consecutive prison terms and being willing to cooperate with the state against Ms. Hildebrandt. However, given the severity of the abuse she inflicted, consecutive terms are appropriate in this case. As the court's aware, Section 76.3.401 lays out factors the court takes into account in determining whether consecutive or concurrent sentences should be imposed. Those factors are the gravity and circumstances of the offense, the number of victims, and the history, character, and rehabilitative needs of the defendant. As agreed to in the plea agreement and as recommended by adult probation and parole, consecutive sentences are appropriate. This is due to the severity of the abuse to both victims. It could be argued that Ms. Franke should receive a lesser sentence than Ms. Hildebrandt because of her remorse and willingness to cooperate with the state. However, the Board of Pardons and Parole will have broad latitude and will be able to take those facts into account when it determines how long each of the co-defendants will remain incarcerated. In conclusion, we respectfully request that the court go along with what was agreed to in the plea agreement and is recommended by adult probation and parole and impose consecutive sentences.
Thank you. Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Windward?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. In my few comments this morning,
I'm sorry, real quick. There's something about her vibe to me when we watch her, because this stays on her for a little bit, right? As they go through this, part of me feels like she's trying to squeeze every bit of tear she can out of her face. And then there's another part of me that thinks that she's like, oh, if I could just put on a nice face and smile a little bit, maybe the judge will go easy on me. It's terrible, guys. It's terrible. But again, this is another example, okay? Exhibit A, if you will, of a person that is completely just disjointed from the rest of the world, completely disconnected to reality. This woman's that crazy. How crazy is she? She's so crazy that she really thinks that this judge is going to be like, oh, she has a nice smile. She has a nice face. I'll go easy on her. No, hell to the F no. Hell no. Okay? She crazy, man. This girl's beyond, all right?
in the comments my client wishes to make in a few minutes, we are not suggesting nor are we asking that the court deviate from the stipulated sentence contained in the written plea agreement. I want the court to know that through introspection and reflection, Ruby Franke has become a serious student of her own actions. In the very early days of my involvement with Ruby, she was somewhat defensive, and she was still very much indoctrinated into a philosophy that was destructive. Fortunately, Ruby came to the stark realization of the errors in her thinking patterns and subsequent actions. To say that she was horrified by this realization would be to put it mildly. I have marveled at how quickly Ruby abandoned her defensive stance and moved toward her total acceptance of her actions and to her sentence today.
I'm sorry, and I'm just going to say, acting, to be or not to be. Get ready for it. This is terrible. But yeah.
So far, she has used her time in jail to unwrap the layers upon layers of deceit and deception foisted upon her over the last 4 years by an unscrupulous individual. Ruby realizes that she still has work to do in shedding those thinking errors and to reestablish a better and correct pattern of thinking and behavior. Ruby realizes that changing her thinking, reestablishing relationships, and healing are not simple or easy tasks. However, she is committed to doing that work. I would like the court to know that Ruby Franke is a delightful, respectful, and responsible person.
That's some BS like I had never heard it before. Okay. This girl ain't got no quit in her. There ain't no quit in this lady. I tell you what, this lady ain't got no quit. I'm telling you, okay? She ain't got no quit in her. She don't know how to quit. All right? This is for life. Look at this. I'm sorry. I'm going to roll that back because last I heard, sounds like they're trying to put most of the blame on Jodi. I'm going to roll it back just a little bit because that's what it sounded like to me. But there ain't no quitting this lady. Look at the puppy dog eyes and stuff. She's like, please, lo siento. Mr. Judge, lo siento. You know what I mean? Like we're watching some really bad, Telemundo. Some really bad, some really bad Spanish soap opera on Telemundo. Okay? Mr. Judge, lo siento. There ain't no quitting this woman.
Quickly, Ruby abandoned her defensive stance and moved toward her total acceptance of her actions and to her sentence today. So far, she has used her time in jail to unwrap the layers upon layers of deceit and deception foisted upon her over the last 4 years by an unscrupulous individual.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry. But where is the deceit, deception from what is scrupulous do person? Did you you did this stuff? This is on your hands. See what happened is? This is what they're saying. See what I'm saying? See what had happened was it was the wind. It wasn't me. It was the wind. You know, the wind is what pushed the kid into the cactus. The sun is what burned my son's body. Somebody else tied him up, not me. I didn't do nothing. I was just with this woman that just made me do all these things, and I don't know how that happened. And now I'm here, wearing a pinstripe jail pajamas. What? Come on, guys. No. And like I said, there's no quit in this woman. There ain't no quit in this woman. And now they are still trying to throw this over to Jodi, saying that she's been brainwashed and messed with. Come on, guys. We all know what time it is. Okay? We all know what time it is. This is trash. Let's continue. And it's still the puppy dog eyes and Mr. George, lo siento. You know, like, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling it. Okay, you damn sure ain't Sofia Vergara. Okay, you just not. So just stop.
Ruby realizes that she still has work to do in shedding those thinking errors and to reestablish a better and correct pattern of thinking and behavior. Ruby realizes that changing her thinking, reestablishing relationships, and healing are not simple or easy tasks. However, she is committed to doing that work. I would like the court to know that Ruby Franke is a delightful, respectful, and responsible person.
Okay.
She is open to feedback and addressing the consequences of her actions head on, and now ready to address your honor and accept your judgment. Thank you, Judge Walton.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I know I keep going in and out of this, but I got to for fair use and all that crap. But here it is, guys. I get your judge. Man, this judge is getting paid. I hope he's getting paid because he's sitting there going, she's an upstanding, bright, respectable woman. No, you're not respectable when you start doing things like this to your kids. Period, point blank. All right. Homeboy singing for his meals. I'm talking about the lawyer. Okay. He's singing for those meals. And again, when she speaks, she ain't got no quit in her. She ain't got no quit.
Thank you. Ms. Franke has a statement she'd like to make.
Oh, good God. Oh, good God. Okay, by the way, this is, I'm sorry. Let me just say this. We got 10 more minutes of this, by the way. About 10 more minutes. Let's see how much she takes up out of the whole rest of these 10 minutes in this video of this clip. You guys ready? Like I said, she ain't got no quit. Let's continue. Mr. George, lo siento.
Judge Walt.
You don't have to bend down.
Okay, thank you. I would like to make a statement without any intent to change my stipulated sentence. For the past 4 years, I've chosen to follow counsel and guidance that has led me into a dark delusion. My distorted version of reality went largely unchecked as I would isolate from anyone who challenged me. I was led to believe that this world was an evil place, filled with cops who control, hospitals that injure, government agencies that brainwash, church leaders who lie and lust, husbands who refuse to protect.
And only think about the spicy, spicy P-Hub and do all these other crazy things. Let's not forget all that stuff too, right? About the hubby. Yeah.
And children who need abused.
Okay, first off, I'm gonna rewind it a little bit, but she's literally sitting here saying like the whole world is against her. The whole world. Okay, hospitals, cops, the government, everything is against her. Right? Everyone's evil, including her own children. But she's the only one that's righteous and clean. Interesting. Yes, she's the one who's doing the evils. Isn't that interesting? You see what I'm saying? How hypocritical. I'm so scared about what the rest of the world is going to do to my kids. So I'm going to do those same things to my kids. Because if it's coming from me, it's done in a righteous way. Because if it's done by the hand of anybody else, that doesn't make any sense now, does it? This girl's crazy. All right.
My distorted version of reality went largely unchecked, as I would isolate from anyone who challenged me. I was led to believe that this world was an evil place, filled with cops who control, hospitals that injure, government agencies that brainwash, church leaders who lie and lust, husbands who refuse to protect, and children who need abused. My choice to believe and behave this paranoia culminated into criminal activity for which I stand before you today ready to take accountability.
No. She still said, hey, it was somebody else who made me, that brainwashed me, but I'm willing to take accountability for the things that I did. Okay. Step in the right direction, right?
Jodi Hildebrandt was never my business partner, nor was I ever employed by her. I have never received wages from her or connections. Jodi was employed as my son's counselor in 2019, and in 2020, I paid her to be my mentor.
Interesting.
It is important to me to demonstrate my remorse and regret without blame. I take full accountability for my choices, and it is my preference that I serve a prison sentence. Thank you to the officers in Santa Clara and the Ivan City Police, Nick Hallman, Brian Palufo, Cy Pikuvit, Mike Pondoyo in Tobler, John Ward, D. Lewis, and Chief Flowers. You were the angels who came and saved my children.
Okay, I'm sorry. Say what? Did she just do? I'd like to thank everyone so much for helping me save my children from me, because without you, my Lord, I don't know where they'd be. Seriously, thank you so much to the cops and to the therapists. Oh my gosh, and you right there, my hubby. Oh my God, I can't forget about you. Thank you. Come on, guys. The hell is this? What is this? Thank you for rescuing my children from me. What? Oh, I'm gonna. Okay. Okay. This is a new one for me, y'all. Like I said, I'd like to thank the Academy. Oh my gosh. You guys like me. You really like me. Oh my God. Come on, man.
I especially want to thank Detective J. Bate. She plucked me out of a situation I didn't know how to get out of. And
What?
the moment she handcuffed me was the moment I gained my freedom. You were not the controlling ones.
Once I got locked up, that's when I really knew I was free. You know what I'm saying? That's what she's saying. She's like, oh, I'm about to drop some bars. Right here. Once I got locked up, that's when I knew I was free. How you like them apples, Judge? See how deep I thought about these things? I've had a lot of time to think about this while I've been locked up all by myself, chilling in the cut in the darkness. But she really sounds crazy. Like I said, Mr. George, lo siento.
I was. Thank you to the medical staff at Intermountain Hospital. Your skill, tenderness, and professionalism helped heal my children. Jodi and I inflicted the injuries, not the hospital. Thank you to DCFS, the Children's Justice Center, Judge Basil, and other key adults. You've gathered my children under your wing and offered them love, compassion, encouragement. You were not the ones who were doing the brainwashing.
It was me. That's what that's what she should be saying right now. She shouldn't be saying anything right now. She needs to shut the F up. She needs to shut up. Just stop talking. Just stop talking. I want to thank I want to thank all the officers, every single last one, the one, even the one who came over and gave me a little cover when I was cold during that one time. I mean, just shut up. Shut up. This judge is not going to be like, oh, she's thanking the DCFS. Oh. Yeah, we're going to do 4 years. Get out of here, guys. Come on. She's trying to put on her best. She's trying to put on her best performance ever. This is not a YouTube video. This is not a YouTube live video. This is none of those things. This is an opportunity for her to sit there and say, okay, I take accountability for what I've done. I'm sorry. Hopefully within what I say here, the judge will be moved by my final statement and he will go easy on me. But when she talks like this, it makes her sound cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It sounds disconnected to me. Maybe the judge, it's Utah. You never know. It's Utah. But at the same time, maybe the judge is going to look at that and go, you know what? Nah. This is so disconnected to anything. Or he's going to say, this woman clearly has some issues that she needs to work out, and it should not be out here in the public with her having an opportunity to be anywhere near her children. Those same children that she terrorized. Let's not forget that too. But again, this is Utah. No disrespect to Utahnians, okay, out here. But just saying, wilder things have happened, guys. Wilder things have happened. And also, I want to say, our man right here, Wet Noodle, looks like Wet Noodle's right here, right down there, okay? No, do not adjust your TV sets. That is the back of a man's head, okay? Yes. And that, I think, is Kevin.
Thank you to my Bishop Tom Hawks and my state president, Jim Nelson, for reminding me of the Lord's love for the lost. So much pain and suffering would have been avoided had I followed and heeded your counsel. I was the one who was deceived, not you. Thank you to the Washington County Prosecutor's Office, Ryan Sham, the legal assistants and discovery clerks. Eric Clark, you exemplified to me how justice and mercy are meant to coexist. My charges are just. They offer safety to my family, accountability to the public, and they did show mercy to me.
Lord have mercy.
Thank you to my attorney, Lamar Winward, and his staff. I would not be where I am today without them. Thank you to Randy Kester for your limitless energy in healing my family. My dear friends, Pam and Roy, I'm so sorry for letting you down. Because of your association with me, your innocence was called into question. My mother-in-law, father-in-law, Kevin's family, my cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, and neighbors, you all saw the warning signs long before I did, and you did what you could. You wanted to help, but I pushed you away. My mother and father, I have been utterly wretched to you. You have offered me unconditional love and for that I have offered you unconditional contempt. My siblings and their spouses, because of my decision to roll around in a pigsty, I have dragged your families through the mud in public. Yet, when I desired to return as the prodigal sister, unlike the prodigal's brother in the Bible, you synced step with my parents and ran out to greet me. Your capacity to love is unprecedented. Kevin, my husband of more than 23 years, you are the love of my life.
Boo.
I'm so sorry to leave to you to finish what we both started together.
Boo. Boo. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Maybe they're doing a new reality show, like maybe another version or another season of Love After Lockup or something like that. I don't know. I don't know, y'all. Just feels like an audition tape. This is just boo, boo, boo.
The ending of our marriage is a tragedy. And you are wrapped around my heart. And now I'll never be able to undo.
You realize that she could have done all this stuff later? Can I just point that out really quick? She could have done this later. She could have written these letters to people, met them in person, and done all this to her in front of her family. She doesn't need to do this right now. There's no reason for her to do any of this in court. This has nothing to do with court stuff. All she needed to do is, I take accountability for what I did. Sure, if she wants to throw Jodi under the bus, by all means, throw her under the bus, okay? I was brainwashed. I was manipulated. But yes, I hold accountability for what I did in this situation. That's all she needs to do. Dang now. She's been talking for 6-something minutes already, man. And she's literally like, it's like she's got like this lifetime achievement award or something like that she got today. The judge don't give a damn about, well, I hope the judge doesn't give a damn about this stuff. It is Utah. But at the same time, he shouldn't give a damn about this. Where's the orchestral music? You know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as she was up there and, like, hey, to my husband, just put the music on and then just crank that mother lover up. Wrap it up, B. Wrap it up. That's all they needed to do, but they didn't do that. Why? Why? I get it's her right to speak and all that stuff, but they could have, you know what I'm saying? Put on the orchestral music. That lawyer's looking around. He could have been like, you could like wrap it up a little bit. You know what I mean? This is unnecessary. All that we're reading right now is not necessary. Just, you know what I mean? Just kind of cut it. Cut it real quick. He could have done that. I know you can't do that, but it's wishful thinking, guys. Like I said, this looks pathetic. This is pathetic, in my personal opinion. Okay, but she's not done yet. It's been about 6 minutes, just about. It's been about 6 minutes.
To my babies, my 6 little chicks, you're a part of me. I was the mama duck who was consistently watering you to safety.
Oh my God. Okay, she's not done yet.
I can see now. Over the past 4 years, I was in a deep undercurrent that led us to danger.
She said undercurrent. I'm sorry. She thinks she's Shakespeare. I'm sorry. Oh, God. Please throw her in the prison for a very long time. She said undercurrent. F this lady. I want to curse so bad right now. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I love when bad guys like fall, like when they fumble. It just feels so good. And she's trying to be Shakespeare right now. Okay. Shakespeare, that's what I was trying to say. Like, that's just ridiculous, y'all. She needs to stop. She needs to stop. And to her kids, the kids are probably like, and they're watching Coco Melon right now. You know what I mean? They're moving over to, they're watching Logan Paul now. They're like, oh, you're talking to me. You're talking to us now. Next channel. You know, they're closing their phones. All right. They're walking out of the courtroom, for crying out loud.
I remember launching into darkness knowingly. I was so disoriented that I believed dark was light and light was wrong. I would do anything in this world for you. My willingness to sacrifice all for you was masterfully manipulated into something very ugly. I took from you all that was soft and safe and good. I took from you your mother. How terrifying this must have been for you. I will stop crying. You're hurting your tender souls. You're so precious to me. I'm sorry. My choice to live in fear of the world has created a great vulnerability and a blind spot for me, where I have broken hearts and I've caused people to suffer and I have betrayed sacred trust. Watching my community respond to my charges with justice and mercy and grace and love is all the more evidence to me of how wrong I've been. This world is full of really good people. And finally, I'm sorry for twisting God's word and distorting his doctrines. My greatest desire is to stand in his court someday spotless and confident. And Judge Walton, I know that standing before you today is a necessary step towards that end. Thank you to you and your staff for facilitating my opportunity to take accountability and to answer for my charges. I am humbled and willing to serve a prison sentence as long as it takes to continue unraveling all of the misinformation I have believed and bought, swallowed, and acted out, and for my family to heal and for the community to heal. And I understand this is going to take time. I'm committed to continuing my learning until all of my toxic layers are shed, and I am ready to re-enter as a contributing member of our beautiful society. Thank you, Judge Walton.
You want to know how long that was, guys? That was about 8 some odd minutes. Remember I said there was about 10 minutes left of this video clip? There's about 1 minute and 39 seconds left. Okay? So a little over 8 minutes or so of her just yapping along. 8 whole minutes. See, this is it'd be a different situation if what she was addressing was what she has done, where she was wrong. Hey, if she wants to throw Jodi Hildebrandt under the bus, then hey, that's on her. But then she took 5 or so minutes of that crap to basically say thank you to the cops that were involved, the detectives, the departments that were involved, her address her husband, address her kids, like all this stuff, when no one cares. No one cares about that stuff. We want to see you take accountability for the things that you did. At the end of the day, doesn't matter if you point the blame at Jodi. You still okayed it. You still were a part of it. You still admitted to doing these terrible things to these kids. Also, let's not forget, I said it earlier, but I'll say it again. You were doing a lot of this stuff, maybe not as harsh, but you were doing a lot of this stuff before Jodi Hildebrandt walked into your life. So you shouldn't be acting all brand new for getting caught. You're putting this out on YouTube and trying to tell other people this is how you should parent. This is how you should raise your children. Oh, if they forget their sack lunch, let them starve. Stuff like that. Oh, if they do something wrong, or if they act up in school, hey, take away their bed. Let them sleep on a beanbag in the middle of the living room. Don't even let them have a room anymore. That's how they're going to live, etc. Why do you think some of your kids may have had some disciplinary issues in school and outside of school? Because of how you raise your doggone kids. You think you're going to raise them with an iron fist that way? They're not going to snap or flip or go against you or go wild and become super rebellious when they get out of that house? I guarantee you these kids are out here. And I'm not sitting here saying they're all out here wilding out, but I'm sure they've all had issues, or some of them have had issues because of how they're being treated at home. They're not even being treated like human beings with the respect of being their own child. It's almost like they're being treated like slaves, like cattle. That's ridiculous, y'all. That's ridiculous. So sure, say what you need to say. Okay? A lot of this crap could have been done in a conversation on a phone with your family, or when you get your visitations with your family. You didn't need to do all that crap right there. The judge, if he feels the way I feel, which I hope he feels the way I feel, he doesn't give two damns about you thanking the departments and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, it wasn't because of the departments. You should be thanking your 12-year-old son for sneaking out, for running free and going across the street and getting refuge from a neighbor. Because without him doing that, you wouldn't be locked up right now. You should be thanking him for getting your ass caught. Real talk. You know what? Thank that 12-year-old kid, but you didn't do that. To my kids, they can't believe this happening. And then it did. Shut up. You should be thanking that kid for getting your ass caught, period. Without him doing that, this still would be happening right now to this day. Let's move on. Let's finish this crap.
Thank you for your statement, Ms. Franke. Anything else, Mr. Winward?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else prior to the court imposing sentence?
No, Your Honor.
The sentence will be that Ms. Franke serve 4 counts, 4 1 to 15-year sentences based on her convictions for 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. Again, they will be served consecutively pursuant to the parties' agreement and the applicable statute. Under the applicable statute, the court finds that that consecutive sentences are appropriate. Ms. Franke, the last thing I do need to tell you is that you have only 30 days to file or to perfect an appeal of any errors of the court by filing a written notice of appeal with the clerk of the court. If you don't do that within 30 days, you will lose your right to appeal. You also have the right to the assistance of an attorney on appeal and to have one appointed if you cannot afford to hire your own. Restitution, as agreed by the parties, will remain open for a period of 8 months. Any of the parties can bring that matter back before the court within that period of time. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next matter before the court is State of Utah versus Hildebrandt, case 231501.
I want the court to know that through
I will say, hi, I'm back. I mean, you know, we're still waiting to find out what she gets. That's the one thing that didn't make sense to me. That's the part I was still kind of trying to understand here, is that he didn't actually give a sentence. And that's the one thing that I'm still trying to fully understand. But of course, she's still looking at an upwards of 15 years per hit, per charge that she pled guilty to, but they still have not said, oh yeah, you know, she's going to get this or he's going to get that. That's one piece that we're still waiting on. They went into a recess as well, which is something I thought that was weird. But you're going to hear in just a little bit because we're going into Jodi Hildebrandt's part because hers was a little bit shorter. Hers was a lot shorter.
Court recalls the matter of stating.
But I thought her piece was very interesting as well. So I wanted to share that one with you as well. And see, that's what's interesting. I am still trying to understand what the hell happened here. Okay. And then the even my sunshine said, so it wasn't a sentencing. It was a sentencing hearing. So but then they said, let's go to recess. So I'm thinking that they may be coming back for it. That's the one thing I'm still trying to figure out because I am a little bit annoyed and still trying to get some clarity on that as well. But we are going to look at that in a second. But that's so weird. But it says, see, that's the one thing I don't get. You see what I'm saying? But it looks like she's back in. So there will be a sentencing. I'm assuming.
Grace and love is all about evidence to how wrong I've been.
Unless this is a
This
repeat.
world is full of really good people. And finally, I'm sorry for twisting God's word and distorting his doctrines.
It's just the same thing over again, which again, I'm still trying to understand what happened here myself. Okay. But we'll see because I'm keeping an eye out on things. Trust me. Savannah, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hold on. Huh. So yeah. Can she please stop talking? Yeah, I kind of wish she did too. But I do think that, you'll see Jodi Hildebrandt's statement is very interesting. It's just interesting. We need to take a look at it. We're going to react to it. We got to take a listen and see what she got to say about all this. But yeah, I am still waiting to hear. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Hold on.
On her convictions for 4 counts of aggravated child abuse.
Yeah, it's the same thing. They're just repeating it again. I don't know. It's really weird that they didn't go, okay, we're sentencing you to blah. We didn't hear that yet. So I'm still waiting to hear. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So and that could very well be what it is too. Buck Cherry. That's very, ain't that a name to a song or something like that? Buck Cherry. Anyway. Interesting. Okay. Let's get into this piece. All right. Very, very interesting.
Utah versus Hildebrandt.
Here's Jodi.
Case 231501763.
Here's
Counsel
Jodi.
Present. Ms. Hildebrandt is present. Counsel, there is a pre-sentence investigation report. I have read it. Everyone has seen and reviewed that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. Again, the sentence was stipulated at the time of the plea agreement. What record do we need to make other than going forward with sentencing?
Your Honor, it would be repetitive. So I had the same statement just with the last few paragraphs where I was differentiating between Ms. Franke and Ms. Hildebrandt.
Okay, let's talk about housekeeping matters first. What about restitution?
And we've stipulated to keep that open for 8 months.
It is appropriate, Your Honor, since we don't have any evidence with respect to restitution, and that's because it is still in the process of being gathered by the county attorney's office. It's completely appropriate for the court to make no orders with respect to restitution other than to reserve all issues regarding restitution, and we have no issue with the eight-month time frame.
And the injunction that was previously issued by the court will remain in effect?
It will.
At least until that time?
It will remain in effect until further order of this court.
All right. Mr. Clark?
Thanks, Your Honor. The state of Utah respectfully requests that the court sentence Ms. Hildebrandt to consecutive prison terms for each of the 4 counts of aggravated child abuse to which she has pleaded guilty. The sentence was agreed to her in her plea agreement and is also recommended by adult probation and parole. Ms. Hildebrandt committed awful acts of child abuse. From May to August 2023, she and her business partner held 2 children, ages 9 and 11, turning 12, in a concentration camp-like setting in her house in Ivan City. The children were regularly denied food, water, beds to sleep in, and virtually all forms of entertainment. They were isolated from others and were hidden when people came to visit the house. They were forced to do physical tasks like carrying loaded boxes up and down stairs and doing wall sits or sitting against a wall without assistance of a chair or stool for hours at a time. They were forced to do manual labor outdoors in the extreme summer heat, often without shoes or socks. They were also forced to stand outside on a cement patio in the summer heat for hours and even days. They were beaten, and the 12-year-old was regularly bound hand and foot after he attempted to run away in mid-July. Both children had extensive physical injuries from the abuse that required hospitalization to treat. The injuries from the binding are particularly bad. In addition to the physical abuse, the children were emotionally abused. They each believed to some degree that they deserved what was being done to them. Had the older of the 2 children not had the courage to run away and ask a neighbor to call the police, heaven only knows how much longer he could have survived. After being caught, Ms. Hildebrandt has shown little to no remorse for her actions. In telephone conversations that will be provided in full to the Board of Pardons and Parole, and which she knew to be recorded, she's repeatedly claimed that she is the victim and the children are the perpetrators. She has gone so far as to say that the things said in this proceeding and covered by the media today will be full of lies. The combination of 3 factors make Ms. Hildebrandt a significant threat to the community. First, the severity of the abuse she caused to be inflicted on young children. Second, her attitude that everything she did was justified and that she is being wrongfully imprisoned. And third, her training as a therapist and aptitude for using online resources to convince others to follow her guidance. Utah Code Section 76-3401 lays out 3 factors the court should consider in determining whether to impose concurrent or consecutive sentences. The first is the gravity and circumstances of the offense. The second is the number of victims. And the third is the history, character, and rehabilitative need of the defendant. As agreed to in the plea agreement and as recommended by adult probation and parole, consecutive sentences are appropriate here. This is due to the severity of the abuse to the 2 victims and the extreme need for Ms. Hildebrandt to be rehabilitated so that she no longer will present a risk to the community. The state respectfully requests that she be sentenced to 4 consecutive terms.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Mr. Terry?
Thank you, Your Honor. I will be brief. As is always the case in cases that come before courts, there are 2 sides to every case. And even in a case like this, that remains the case. There are many allegations regarding these 2 individuals, Ms. Franke and my client, Ms. Hildebrandt. The only facts in this case that are adjudicated facts are those set forth in the plea agreement that she entered into freely and knowingly and voluntarily. Those facts, those adjudicated facts are significant. They certainly provide a basis for the pleas and provide a basis for the stipulated sentence in this case. My experience with Ms. Hildebrandt is that she is not the person that she has been portrayed to be.
Stop. Man, these
But
lawyers.
having said that, she has accepted responsibility in this case. She has entered into this plea agreement with a stipulated sentence of 4 consecutive sentences. She did that at the time she entered into the plea agreement, knowing that that would be the court's order. She is before the court today, knowing that that will be the court's order, and she fully accepts that. She accepts responsibility and she accepts the consequences for her conduct.
Why?
And we will submit it to the court on the stipulated
Stop.
agreement.
Mr. Terry, you suggested that there are 2 sides to every case. I generally agree with you. Ms. Hildebrandt didn't make a statement to AP&P in the course of the pre-sentence investigation report.
Correct.
Why did she not make a statement?
She wanted to reserve her right to make a statement before the court today, and she has a brief statement that she wants to read.
It's brief, though. It's brief.
And
All right.
It's hamburger. This is something else. Matlock. Come on. That's insulting the Matlock. Come on now.
I sincerely love these children.
No, you don't. Oh my
I desire
God.
for-
Quit lying. I'm sorry. I'm rolling it back. Okay. Sorry.
I sincerely love these children. I desire for them to heal physically and emotionally. One of the reasons I did not go to trial is that I did not want them to emotionally relive the experience which would have been detrimental to them.
Did she just no. Did she? Yeah, she did. Wow.
My hope and prayer is that they will heal and move forward to have beautiful lives. I am willing to submit to what the state feels would be an appropriate amount of time served to make retribution as an outcome.
in answer to your question, Your Honor, I knew that
That's it.
whatever she might say to the author of the pre-sentence report would probably sound hollow and self-serving, and perhaps it does today. But I know that my client, in the statement that she makes to the court today, that statement is absolutely sincere.
Does Ms. Hildebrandt recognize that it's her behavior that caused the harm to the children that she's referred to in her statement?
Yeah. Is there any accountability for this at all? Doesn't sound like she's taking any accountability, ladies and germs. Zero.
Your Honor, she recognizes that she was, along with Miss Franke, that she made decisions with respect to the discipline of those children that were wrong, that caused harm to those children. She fully recognizes that and accepts responsibility for that.
But did she say that in that statement? Did she, though? Okay.
All right, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
He said, right. Anything else?
Okay.
You know, it's interesting because maybe it is a thing. Maybe Jodi's approach, maybe Ruby's approach is the right approach. You know, I'd like to thank the Academy, and I want to say thank you to all the people that saved my kids from me because I'm a monster. And without them catching them, without them getting them from my hands, my clutches, then they may not be alive today. I want to say thank you to my husband and my parents. I'm so sorry for being such a pain. Like, it's like, what? Say what? I guess he prefers that than this. And what she said was short and sweet. That was short and sweet. And she's like, the only reason why I'm not going to trial and taking the stand and saying all this stuff is because I don't want these kids to relive what they went through that you were a part of. It is a little disjointed too, right? It's a little delusional, don't you think? A little delulu, as you guys would say, a little delulu. Okay? Trace. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate it, Trace. And just like Trace, don't forget to hit that. Consider becoming a consider becoming a family member. Wow. Consider becoming a member of the family. I can't talk today by simply hitting that join button down below, just like Trace. Thank you so much. Wow. I don't know how that came out my mouth like that, but you know, it's fine. Okay. But still, she said, it's going to be brief. This is what I got to say. And that's it. So, and you got to remember, this is also somebody who really, truly believes in what they think, in the teachings that they put out here and all that. So she is pretty much a person who's like, this is the hill I'm going to die on. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, my teachings are all wrong and the ways of life of this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? She's like, I ain't saying nothing. Except I feel bad for what happened to those kids. That what we did was, and she's not even really saying, oh, it's so wrong. I can't believe I did this. And then she's just like, no, I just don't want them to have to relive the stuff that they went through. So that's why I'm taking this plea deal. Not the fact that you are guilty and you done wrong and you did some monstrous things, unthinkable things to these kids. Like I said, she's still got a following. I'm sure she's still got people that still follow and are supporting her through this stuff, believing in what she is doing and all that stuff. Remember, she got this cultish type stuff going on, y'all. So this is a hill she is going to die on. I have a feeling. S-Dubs, thank you so much for the 5. If you do not like the content, Ruby or Jodi, but like the video, so you don't have to like the content, but like the video. Yes, I'm fuming mad over this. I agree. You know, it really burns my cookies, as I say. You know, this is a really messed up approach, and is very, very wrong. Like I said, both of them are just completely delulu. Okay. But let's continue. Let's hear the rest of what the judge has to say. Seems like the judge is like, that's all you got to say? Damn. All right, then. Okay. Then her sentencing might be more harsh than Ruby's, solely because of how she is kind of, how she dropped the mic on that one and chucked up the deuces. That's kind of what it seemed like. You know what I mean? She just went, I'm out. Peace. I said what I had to say. You know what I mean? Well, let's hear the rest.
Ms. Hildebrandt, this circumstance is tragic. It's largely, of course, of your making. By any measure, your conduct in this case was disastrous for these children. Adults are supposed to protect children. Adults with specialized training in particular are supposed to protect children. You didn't do that in this case. In this case, you terrorized children, and the results have been tragic. It's what happened to these children, and your philosophy in dealing with them, frankly, seems detached from reality or any objective standard of decency or even common sense. And the court finds that it is appropriate that you serve a prison sentence. the court finds under the statute, Utah Code 76-3-401, that given the gravity and circumstances of the offenses, the number of victims, and the history and character and needs of the defendant, that consecutive sentences are appropriate. The court imposes 4 1 to 15-year sentences to be, again, served consecutively for each of the 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. The last thing I do need to tell you is that you only have 30 days to file or perfect an appeal of any error of the court by filing a written notice of appeal with the clerk of the court. If you don't do that, you will lose your right to appeal. That has to be filed in writing, and again, within 30 days. You also have the right to the assistance of an attorney and to have an attorney appointed if you cannot afford to hire your own. Thank you. We're in recess.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Your Honor.
And then they said, thank you, we're in recess. So that's why I was like, what is going on? Why is it in recess? But then, you know, I'm looking at other at other places and, you know, other channels, you know, other like Law and Crime, like this is where I got this video from. And even on there, they're not really, they're just kind of repeating the same stuff over and over and over again on this live feed. So clearly it's, for me, from my understanding, it's done. But let me show you guys this too. Trace, thank you so much for the comment. Oh, wow. I heard an attorney YouTuber lady say it's yet to be decided, but I wasn't sure if I heard it correctly. She said it maxes out at 30 years though. Now, from what it sounds like here, he's sitting there. This judge said 1 to 15 years for each count consecutively. So I guess maybe it will be, you know, a max of 30 years. But from my understanding, 15 4 times over is an upwards of 60 years. Last I checked, unless that's something else. Now, yeah, I mean, if it's Emily Baker, then she knows what she's talking about. Okay. Emily D. Baker, you know, if you don't know her content, she's a law tuber, and she's good at what she does. You know what I mean? She's very, very concise, very factual. And, you know, she's she's got a really great channel. In fact, let me see here real quick. I'm just curious to see if she's, yeah, she's still on doing her thing. Okay. But I do have a few more things that I want to pull up as well. Okay. So let me and I will also say this, the search still continues for Audrey Cunningham. That still is not, we're still not done yet. They still haven't found, there hasn't been really any new updates about that yet either, which hopefully we do get some updates on that very, very soon. I mean, you know, finding her and hopefully finding her alive and hopefully well. That's what I'm hoping for. I think that's what we're all hoping for. But I got another video I want to share with you guys. And this is still prosecution coming out, with the prosecutor coming out and talking about this situation, about this sentence hearing and all that. So I wanted to share this with you guys.
You mentioned that the now 12-year-old had particularly bad injuries caused by the binding. Can you explain that further?
And we anticipate releasing photos when the public information is released on this.
The 30-day period.
At the end of the 30-day period.
Thank you, Gail.
He was bound hand and foot with handcuffs around him, and at times he was laid on his stomach, and the handcuffs from his ankles to his wrists were tied, so he was hog-tied in a position that kept his legs off the ground and his arms off the ground for hours at a time. And there.
Do you realize how freaking crazy that is? Do you realize how that a person being hogtied like that? See, this is the reason why. I mean, you know, we're only like 40 seconds into this clip, but this is the reason why I say, may they bury them underneath this prison. This is not somebody who is safe to be out here, let alone safe to be out here to procreate again and try to start it all over again. Okay? At least Ruby. I don't remember how old she is exactly, but hey, you know, shoot, women have had babies well into, into their 40s as well. Okay, it is possible. So I don't know how old she is, but on some real stuff, hail to the no. Okay? Hail to the no. That's 40 seconds in. We're already hearing the information from the prosecutor that's saying things that he saw were absolutely so horrendous that he feels in his gut, hey, put her in there for as long as possible. But I'm sorry. This is somebody out here that, this is somebody that was out here doing these unthinkable things. And then say she gets thrown back out to society, to the public. You don't think she's going to be out here trying to do it again? Just saying. Leave her in there for as long as she can be in there. Don't let her get back out, because next thing you know, she's going to be on Rumble. Starting her own thing all over again. I'm dead ass. She'll be on Rumble, y'all. And no disrespect to Rumble, but I'm just saying. She'll be out here still preaching and talking. Same thing with Jodi too. They'll be out here talking all kinds of crazy stuff, still doing what they do, still doing that hustle. All right? Leave them in there for as long as you can. All right? So whoever's, if it is the a parole board or whatever board that's making the decision on how long they stay in prison, please be harsh. Please be strong. Be stern with your sentencing, because these two individuals can go back out here and still do more damage. Because it's not only them doing it to their own children, they can also manipulate other people to do this to their children as well. That's the thing I'm concerned about. You don't think that there's other manipulative minded, people out here that are willing to listen to anything that these two people say? There are some really lost people out here that are always looking for guidance. Same thing like what happened with Ruby. Same thing that happened with Rudy. You don't think that they're going to slide in and manipulate and make them do their willing, do their will within their teachings and their philosophies? These are two very dangerous people.
There is clear evidence of the handcuffs cutting into him and doing harm.
Are you able to describe his phone calls in which you say he went last remorse?
Yes, and we anticipate releasing those also. And generally, jailhouse calls are private matters, but if you're discussing your criminal acts, then that's not the case.
Can you describe them at all?
And Ms. Hildebrandt just has not expressed any remorse and continues to justify her perspective of things. And to the degree that in her mind, it's clear that the perpetrator here is the devil and the children. And she is a victim to the devil's grander causes. At the end of the day, this is a case about religious extremism. And I think that Ms. Franke's statement kind of got into that.
It clearly did.
Went down a rabbit hole, and Ms. Hildebrandt believed that she was regularly talking to God, and Ms. Franke was following the direction that she was getting from Ms. Hildebrandt. Again, and she alluded to that in her statement.
Can I just say this? Please, somebody explain to me, how does this work? How does one believe that is a specific individual is that hardwired to God? Seriously. I'm sorry. You know, I will say this, and actually, I'm not saying I'm sorry like I'm trying to apologize, because I ain't apologizing for nothing. Okay, you believe what you want to believe. Okay, if you're a God fearing or God loving individual, so be it. If you're not, if you're atheist, whatever, doesn't matter. In a way, you still believe in something. Okay, whatever it may be, you believe in yourself, or you believe in some weird, entity that dropped us off on this planet and said, be, you know what I'm saying? Live, whatever it may be. Doesn't matter how whatever you think. But where on God's green earth, how on God's green earth can one convince another one or another group of people to believe that they are that hardwired directly to God? Okay, let me just say this too. Now, like I said, I believe that there's a higher entity. I think that there's another energy out here. Okay, some people call that God. Some people call it atoms, that particles in the air that make whatever it is that what we are. People call that aliens and all that stuff. But I also have 2 feet planted on the ground. Okay. Yes, the wildest thing I believe is that I do believe that there is life on other planets somewhere out there. This vast world the vast universes and galaxies that we have out here. Yes, I do believe that there's other living entities out here in this world. Okay, that's the wildest I will go. No, I don't think a man can fly by himself. Okay. No, I don't think a man can, do all this other stuff. All right. I don't, a person. I don't think that a person can do crazy stuff. And I most definitely do not think that there are people out here that directly have a tapped in expressway conversation, superhighway, fiber connection to God. I just don't. And if you ever came to me and said something like that, I'd laugh in your face. No disrespect, but I'd just be like, okay, I'm going to go over here. You're going that way, right? Okay, I'm going that way. God bless. See you soon. Maybe not, because I'm going that way and you're going that way. So I don't understand, and I still am trying to figure out, how can one person convince another person that God is telling them, do this, and then that person who's next to them going, that's what God said to you? God said that to you? Then I must do it. Where does that okay, Jesus Christ? But you remember, that was a long time ago, right? Jesus Christ. Have we had David Blaine, Chris Angel, all of them? Those are all illusionists, and it's all tricks, and it's all, it's all science-y stuff, right? Ain't no way somebody gonna go over to David Blaine, and David Blaine's gonna be like, "Oh, I need you to go and hurt these children for me because it's the right thing to do." Ain't no way somebody gonna be doing that and believing that he has a direct tapped line to God. So how can Jodi convince this woman that she is that connected? We're all realists to a certain extent. Yes, we're all dreamers too, but at the same time, we all have our feet planted on the ground. All right? Reality is a part of our life. How can one convince another one of that? And the thing is I've seen a documentary or this docu-series on Netflix about like leaders, like cult leaders and all that, how they convince these people that they are actually, that they're that the vibrations they vibrate on a higher frequency to the point where they have that connection with God, to the point where you have thousands of people following them, sometimes to their demise, right? But for me, And it's interesting because you wonder, how does that break down? How does that even happen? It's the same effect that's happening here. And I'm wondering, how does one honestly, how does that happen, guys? How does that happen? How does one, especially the person that's sitting there saying, I'm connected to God. God is telling me to tell you to do this, right? How can they sniff these people out? How are they finding these people? Real talk. Like I said, it just doesn't make sense to me, guys. It just does not make any sense. Okay? She's saying that Jodi was having direct conversations with God, and so she was following these things out because God was saying for her to do these things. But then you look at somebody like Kevin Franke. Kevin Franke was even manipulated in this way as well. He was brainwashed and manipulated in a way in which he went and lived in another condo by himself. No, actually not by himself, with another member of this group, watching his every move because Jodi was penetrating and messing with his mind with thoughts that he was a dirty individual, that he was doing all these terrible things when he's just a regular guy. It doesn't make sense. Okay.
And they felt entirely justified in that they were helping children to repent and casting out devils from children, which is ludicrous and wrong because child abuse is never okay. But that was the mindset that they had at the time, and I think that you saw today. There's good reason to believe that Ms. Franke has kind of understood that, and there's not reason to believe that Ms. Hildebrandt.
Ruby Franke also talked.
Like I said, did I not just say that Hildebrandt is literally sitting here going like, these are my beliefs and this is what I think and that's how it is? She really is taking it like she's trying to make it seem like she's a martyr, that she's willing to fall on her own sword for her own beliefs. Real talk. So even the prosecutor in this particular trial is even saying that as well. He's echoing what I just said just a few minutes ago. That she doesn't give a damn. All she's sitting here is saying is, oh, the only reason why I'm not going to trial is because I don't want those kids going through this ish again. They don't have to go through this emotionally. That's it. Not, I'm sorry for what has happened. I've done wrong, so on and so forth. She even says, she starts off her statement with, I love these kids. So she basically is saying that everything that she did was rooted from love. Still, because she still believes that she was getting the evil out. She was getting that stank of evil out of those kids. What the hell? That's a very dangerous individual. She's even dangerous behind bars, actually, too, if you really think about it. There's going to be plenty of people, because now she might be thinking, oh, a possible new congregation inside the prison. I can help change these people. I can keep on preaching and pushing the word and influence them. Do you realize how dangerous that is? That's very dangerous. Oh my God. Whatever prison she ends up being locked up in for a while, she's going to be, it's going to be very dangerous. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be dangerous.
About warning signs, are there going to be potentially more cases down the line here?
Not that we're aware of at this time.
She mentioned, or you mentioned, just this really powerful statement. You said this was a concentration-like setting for these children.
And you look at the images of people that have been stuck in concentration camps and malnourished for a time, and you look at the forced labor and the types of injuries that they have from that, and that's what these kiddos experienced. They were held, they were denied food to the point that is painfully obvious in looking at them. They were left out in the heat without water as a form of punishment, and they were forced to do work in the St. George heat in June and July and August without not like without gloves, but without shoes, being out in the desert, being forced to do labor. And, like, if that's not a concentration camp setting, I don't know what is.
We saw Sherry was here
Crazy.
for 2 of her children, right? And her estranged husband, Kevin. Have you been in communication with them? What have they told you?
I have been in communication with them, and I'm not going to get into conversations with them. But I feel for what the family is going through, particularly the youngest, the primary victims. But child abuse is an awful crime, and families have to pick up the pieces.
Those 2 older kids were really taken aback when Jodi Hildebrandt said, "I dearly love these kids." Their reactions.
They were in disbelief on
Yeah.
this.
What do you make of that?
I obviously couldn't see them from where I was sitting. I can't. You can't climb into people's heads when they've convinced themselves of something, and I don't know that Jodi doesn't. I suspect that Jodi believes everything that she says.
Like I said, she believes everything she is saying. All the things that she's been preaching and teaching, all the punishments that those kids went through. Sorry, guys, my camera is tripping. But all the things that those kids went through and all that, show. She has zero remorse. Zero. Be right back. Zero regard to any of the things that have happened here. Okay. She's not sitting here going, "Oh, woe is me. I can't believe this is what happened." Blah, blah, blah. She doesn't care. Or actually, it's more woe is me. I can't believe this is happening to me. But now she's sitting there going, "Nah, this is the hill I'm going to die on. I am a martyr. Now I am Jesus Christ." Interesting, right? Let's continue on.
Loving kids in a way that is child abuse is a crime that merits prison, right? Like, that's not love, that's abuse. And I suspect that Jodi honestly believed that she was helping these children, that she was casting out devils. But that's not okay. If anybody ever finds themselves in a situation where what you're doing to kids is something that you have to actually hide from your neighbors, that's a pretty good sign that you should stop, right? And clearly that was going on. They were actively hiding things, and because the abuse was horrific, and it would have been apparent to anybody that would have seen the kids that something was wrong here.
Is this some of the
Thank
worst
you.
child abuse you've seen in your career?
Yes, and not just in my career, but in our office's career, in our institutional memory, this is one of the worst child abuse cases we've seen.
Do you consider this precedent setting?
Can you?
In terms of the actual sentences they end up serving?
No, because I think the board takes everything into account so specifically.
You think Jodi's going to end up serving more?
I hope so. I hope that Jodi does serve more. I think that would only be fair. I think that Ruby should serve. So the sentence that they got is basically 4 to 30 years today, right?
Yes.
The 4 1-year minimum stat, and then in Utah you're capped at 30 years.
Interesting.
I think that a 4-year minimum for Ruby's actions are entirely appropriate.
Now, 4 years for all that, all charges, so all 4 ending up just being 4 years. I get him saying, "Hey, that will be justice served," but I'm telling you right now, I don't agree with this lawyer right there. unless he means like 4 years per count, then that would be 16 years. I don't know if I'd be happy with that either. But at the same time, if that's what she ends up getting, which is 16 years, okay. I'd be like, all right, 4 years per, cool. That's fine, I guess. But I think she should be in there for as long as her natural life. That's what I think. Okay. That kind of cruelty, that type of treatment, I don't think just deserves 16 years and a possibility of, being able to walk out in a couple of years. All right. Or over a succession of years. Nah, I'm not with that. Okay. Let her see 30 plus. That's what I think. Okay. There's a presser at 3. That's what's up. Thank you so much, Palm Tree. I'll keep an eye out for that, for sure. But like I said, I mean, shoot, I want to see 60, but he said it would be 30. It would be capped at 30. Okay, then let's get a 30. Come on, boo-boo. Give her the 30. All right? Because that's what she deserves. I feel like that's the other thing too, especially cruel when it comes to crimes against children. There needs to be harsher punishments. That's what I also believe too. I think it's absolute trash, okay, that there is a situation like this and she's not looking at some serious, I mean, she's looking, if she ends up doing 30 years, that's 30 years of the rest of her life. I mean, she ain't going to be, if she really does serve all 30, okay, the rest of her life is done. That's it. She's in her 30s or maybe 40s right now. She'll be 70 something when she walks out, free as a bird, right? Allegedly. Okay. But at the same time, they just don't have harsher sentences for people who do crimes against littles. And that is a huge problem for me. That is a huge problem. So you look at this, what she did, if this was to an adult, if this was done to an adult, maybe, I mean, I'm sure it'd be the same crimes, but or same punishments as far as time being, time, right? But at the same time, I'm like, no, these are kids, man. These are kids. Now they're going to grow up traumatized. They don't deserve that. Same thing as an adult, right? Adults don't deserve that either, right? But at the same time, we're talking about kids, young, impressionable, developing minds that are now tormented and tainted because of these two women's actions. And this also goes to every other person or all these other stories out here of our other young, impressionable, innocent kids that are all either missing or have been traumatized or has gone through some stuff. Some of these guys get a slap on the wrist and they're back out in the streets to do the same thing to another child, if not another group of children all over again. So I look at this and I'm like, nah, 4 is just ridiculous. 4 is just ridiculous. No, hell no. They should pay and they should be set as an example for anybody else that wants to try to do something crazy like this. Like I said, they need to set the bar up a little bit higher from this point on, because we're talking about our kids here. Hail to the no. Okay? I wouldn't be, if I was, I'm not a lawyer, right? I'm not prosecuting this and I'm not a part of this trial and this case. But if it was me, I would be, that response is not good enough for me. I'd be like, if they get 4, if they're looking at 4 for each count, I ain't happy about that. I'm pushing for as much as I can, justice for those kids and justice for all the other kids, because you got to remember, this will set a precedent for other cases against littles in that state. Trust and believe it will. So I'm not for that. Woosah. Woosah. I love you guys. But yeah, nah, bro. Nah. Okay? Somebody, Madeline said Pascal for president 2024. and my whole slogan is nah, bro. 2020. That's it. Nah, bro. 2024. Pascal 2024. Okay. Yeah, that's what it needs to be. Nah, bruh. 2024. That's all it is. Actually, if you really think about it, it kind of is. It kind of is the exact right slogan for this election season. But yeah, okay. So let me let me continue here. Okay, hamburger, nah, bruh, nah, bruh. 2024. All right, let's finish what he has to say. By the way, if it is 3 p.m., it's most likely 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that would be 45 minutes away from now. Okay, just so you guys know. It's just so you guys know. I'm going to take a look at that and cross-check that to make sure that's real. All right, but or that is true. I'm not sitting here saying that somebody in here trying to lie, but I just want to let you guys know. I'm going to look at that for Audrey's case. So let's continue.
I hope that Jodi serves more time than that, and I hope that she isn't out of prison until everybody is completely confident that she's no longer a risk. And to get there, she's going to have to acknowledge that she has done wrong, and that you can't use religion as a means to justify your crazy behavior.
Do you think? Sorry, I'm just trying to understand, why would the mother, in your opinion, deserve less time when she's watching, she's torturing your kids versus a stranger? Wouldn't you hold the parent more accountable?
And again, so they both got the same deal, right? Yeah. Like we didn't give her a less of a minimum time. Part of the mission of what we do when we incarcerate people, I'll obviously want to see justice done. And a mother abusing her children in this way is awful. Awful.
No doubt.
And people should go to prison for that.
Yes, for a long time.
Something that is really important is that people shouldn't be released from prison unless they've hit the maximum amount of time they should be in, or they've done enough that justice is served, and it's clear that they're no longer a risk to the community. And I'm super concerned that Jodi, if she were released today, is a significant risk to gather followers. Ruby was essentially a follower of Jodi, and if she's gathering people and then convincing them to do this kind of thing, that's a huge risk, and those type of people shouldn't be walking the streets when they've committed these kind of crimes.
There was some back and forth with the restitution piece of this. Can you explain where you are with that?
Okay, real quick before we go into anything, before we continue and let him finish, there's like a minute left in this video. Okay, NFT just said there is a presser soon regarding Audrey. I'm looking up on X, and usually they post something about there being something about Audrey or an update about Audrey. I haven't seen anything about that yet. So I'm trying to see if there's any other spots that are saying otherwise. But I am looking around, trust and believe, but I have yet to see anybody saying that there is a presser as of yet. Now, as far as Audrey. But I also will say this too, in regards to this piece right here. Okay. And trust me, I'm looking. And if you guys see it, please send it my way, because I don't see anything about that. Okay. Okay, Liz saying thank you, Liz, on here. Hearing crime scene taped and press conference in about an hour on. But where is it? Damn it! Where is it? That's what I'd like to know. Okay. If it's going to happen soon, then I'm going to be hopping off here soon to talk about this too. All right. Trust and believe. It's kind of funny because you want me to go, Jesus Christ, superstar. You know what I mean? You know. But then I also have, hey, you're crazy. I'm on top of it when I dream. I do you all night. You know that song? Now I remember it. So Buck Cherry, if you're still watching the show, Buck Cherry. Okay. So that's weird that I went from, holier than holy to just dirty and grimy is hell, talking about the hibbity dibbity. Okay. But what this lawyer says here real quick. All right. In the very beginning of this whole thing, it's true. I agree. I think Jodi Hildebrandt should get a harsher sentence than Ruby, but I don't think it should be I don't think it should be as harsher than Ruby's. they should be looking at some serious time, but because you got to remember, Jodi is the one that was manipulating, right? But then you also have Ruby actually allowing and exacting those things. Okay. So let's be real. Both of them should be locked up for a very long time, in my personal opinion. I think both of them are just as bad because you got to remember, one was the one manipulating, the other one allowed those things to happen and continued to let those things continue. Okay. She was exacting that pain and that type of stuff to those kids. That is absolutely ridiculous, in my personal opinion. Okay. So that's just my thoughts on that. They definitely deserve as harsh as they can give them. And then that should be used as an example of all you evildoers that are doing things to littles right now, better watch out, because this could be you guys too. Or hopefully it will be you guys, because we'll be catching you guys. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, we talking about the kids, man. We talking about the kids.
So there were a couple of motions filed over the course of the last month about that, and we anticipate a restitution claim coming in that will cover ongoing therapy and physical care, or physical recovery if needed, of the victims of these crimes. The state hasn't submitted a claim for restitution yet, and we want to make sure that there's plenty of time for all of that to be kind of analyzed and brought in before we close out restitution. And that should be the same for both defendants, right? Like both of them will end up with restitution orders against them, I assume.
Let them be in there for a long time.
Thank you.
Yep, I have a written statement that kind of recapsulates some of what I said in there and just talks a little bit about this. You guys are welcome to have that. We'll email that out also.
Thank you.
And also, you still have your tag on your umbrella. Did you just buy that umbrella? Did someone just buy that umbrella? I'm just curious, because that's not a tea bag. That ain't a tea bag. That's not a tea bag hanging on the umbrella, right? Right? That be a new one. He got the, you know what I mean? Okay. What is it? Shake it off. You got a lovely face. Something like that. Going to your place. I don't know the rest of the song. Somebody asked me about the Buck Cherry. You see, it sounded so bad that the dogs are going, what stop. What are you singing, bro? Nah, bro, 2024. All right. But interesting nonetheless. Okay. Nonetheless, this is some crazy stuff. We're going to have to wait and find out what they end up doing as far as the sentencing, what they actually are going to get. But I honestly, truly believe that they should be locked up for a very, very long time. They both did the deed. They're both should be held absolutely accountable for all of what has happened. Also, I will say this too. I think they both should get the same max amount. Why? Because now I know she's not on trial for things that she did in the past, but she also was doing things to these kids for a very, very long time. I'm talking about Ruby. Now, Jodi, we don't know. I mean, we've been hearing other stories about her as well in her past, doing some terrible things, not only just to other followers of hers, but even family members of hers as well. Brainwashing and messing with these kids' minds, thinking that they're a monster when they're not, when it comes to littles and all that stuff, etc. It's really, really bad what this woman has done. Okay? Really, really, really bad. So I know they're not on trial for past crimes, right? But at the same time, these are two very, very dangerous individuals that should not be let out any time soon. I'm just going to say that real quick. Anyway, guys, that's the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Yes, I'm going to be hopping back on here in just a minute. I'm going to make sure I can find this presser, get some things set up for that actual live. We will be watching it together as a family, so be on the lookout for that. May these two forever be locked up behind bars. They are not supposed to be out here. Those two need to go find some serious mental health counseling, and they need to pay their dues for the wrongs that they've done. Okay? What? They say a crime scene? Damn it. Damn it. That's not good news. Even though if that's true, even though I felt that all the way down to my plums, I'm not happy about that. We want everybody to survive, y'all. Damn it. Well, Zoomer, thank you so much for becoming a member of the family. Thank you so much. I'll be back on in just a few minutes. Be on the lookout for the next setup for the next show. Okay? We will be watching that as a family. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. I hope y'all are wrong. You know? I want to be wrong. You know what I'm saying? I really don't like being right when it comes to these kind of stories. I'm praying. Keep an eye out for that. Make sure you hop over to that as soon as I get that set up. Give me a few minutes. I'll have that up and running. We will go live a few minutes before the live, and we will watch it as a family. Apparently, there's some updates we need to talk about. It's turned into a crime scene? ? That's not good. Let's talk. And I'm glad I get to hold y'all hands as we go through this information. Again, I hope we're wrong. I really hope we're wrong. Anyway, before we get going, hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on Facebook. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Crush that follow button on my Facebook page, please and thank you. Hit that join button if you want to support the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, if you want to support the channel even further, go over to patreon.com/The Pascal Show. Check out my merch page, pascalmerch.com. That'd be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys in just a few minutes. Literally in just a few minutes, Nicole B. So I'll be back on within the next 15 minutes. Okay. I just need to set up a few things, get the stuff up and running, get the thumbnail. You know what I need to do. So I'll see you guys very shortly. Make sure that notification bell is set to all so you don't know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. And a lot of these stories lately have been breaking randomly. So I'll be back on in about 15 minutes. Be on the lookout for it. I'll see you guys in a little bit. It's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Fingers crossed we got some good news, guys. I really hope it's good news. But we'll be talking about it very soon. See you guys soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.